No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed are greater than the legal services of other lawyers. I'm Harry Steele. You found the Heart of Dixie podcast number 19. I'm an attorney in private practice in Daphne, Alabama, and we're joined today by Brandon Mosley, reporter and content manager at the Alabama Gazette. How are you, Brandon?
I'm doing fine, Harry. How are you today?
I'm good. You could cozy up to your microphone just a little bit, or I could turn my volume up. It could be either one.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes, I think I am the problem. How about that? You won't hear me say that much, will you? So our special guest today is a candidate for state senate from Rainbow City, Alabama, running as a Republican, Amy Menton. How are you today, Ms. Menton?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on.
So we are looking at a map of Rainbow City, Alabama. Is that where you hail from?
Yes.
And so I think our next slide is Southside, Alabama. And do you see Night Court right there, Brandon? Over behind the Deerfield Inn, across from the fire station.
Yes, so I really stretch, yes.
So anyway, that's where I lived from 2023, 24, 25, when I was your chief executive officer up in Etowah County. So I was in the city right across the river from you. And
awesome.
I can tell you I had so let me think, Jack Page, Craig Ford, Blaine
Yes.
Gallagher, and I'm trying to think of who our other, Larry Means. Those were our four legislators that I had to go beg off on to get anything done. And so the problem was everybody's was Democrats back then. And I was and they go, there's that Republican from Baldwin County they hired. And so now everybody's a Republican and proud to know me up there. So, hey, how the times have changed. But everybody was, except for Sheriff Hayes, everybody was very nice to me. Judge Junkins, I hope he's still alive. I haven't heard anything about him dying. Is he still alive? Bobby Junkins?
Yes.
And what about that old battle axe that used to, Dopey Thompson's sister, she was the revenue commissioner. Golly, can't remember her name. Anyhow, there were a lot of good elected officials up there and super nice folks, I tell you. So we're looking at a depiction of what Wikipedia says the Alabama Senate does. Brandon, you covered the Alabama legislature. Do you have any questions for our guest about the function or, there's new leadership. We saw what was almost a tragic end to the legislative session because our neophyte party leader couldn't get anything. Was it our pro tem? I mean, who was in charge of the calendar? Because it was like right there at the last minute, we had one Democrat just roadblocking everything.
Yeah, there were some poor decisions made in that last week. I don't want to throw stones at who was responsible for putting us in a position where Bobby Singleton could kill, like 30 conservative bills or whatever else he wanted to kill at the end. But hopefully we learn from that error.
Well, have you been following the legislative session this last time, and are you aware of the logjam that we had?
Yes, I definitely have. As a matter of fact, my husband laughed at me because it was like watching a Super Bowl. I had the Senate live on one screen and I had the House live on the other screen, and I, was locked in, and I definitely enjoyed learning about the Dairy Queens that Singleton talked to us about, and he is pretty funny.
That was good, wasn't it?
If it were talking about riding a bicycle without a seat, if it were not it's serious, I would have been laughing at him because he does a good job filibustering. But I definitely watched both of those sessions.
So we're looking at your Senate priorities from your website, and it says stand firmly for small businesses, former private property owners, and everyday citizens being overregulated, overtaxed, and controlled by government overreach. Hey, You got me sold right there. Then we go on. I kind of like that you recognize that you have a stranglehold on the county commission and that you want to work alongside Craig Ford. And so I think all of the people that fired me are gone or dead or hung themselves or whatever. So I don't have anything bad to say about the county commission, but it was funny. After I was gone, the guy that took took the position after I left was accused of child molestation in another county, and the county engineer called me and said, "Well, hey, we've changed the list. You're not the worst county manager we ever had." And I said, "Oh, well, thank you." So anyway, you have a real good county engineer up there, and you should definitely sit down and talk to him, because he took me over a couple of bridges, and I cussed him and said, "Please don't ever do that again."
Yes.
Duck Springs Road, some of these places up there, I can't even think of the names of some of these little old backwoods places that, that I had to go look at roads and stuff. But there's some beautiful places in Etowah County. People would be shocked.
Very beautiful.
And then, of course, there's some Brownsville sites. I mean, there's a lot of diversity in Etowah County. There's 5. Do you think there's a place with more amenities? And I think people. So, listen, I joined the Gaston Country Club, and I had a locker made of more mahogany in that locker than I've ever seen in a boat. Okay, so you had Goodyear trying to have a better golf course than U.S. Steel had, which is basically what the Gaston Country Club was. And then all that stuff went away. So anybody with any money up there, you just get treated like royalty. You really ought to join one of those country clubs. It's worth every penny.
Well, I will say that is what is so nice about, if you travel Etowah County, Cherokee County, over Weiss Lake, and all the beautiful farmland, DeKalb County. Personally, of course, they just the most beautiful part of the state. So I'm a little prejudiced in that way, but you have plenty of waterways, beautiful mountains, just a lot of beautiful area. And that's one of the reasons that I'm so loyal, and my heart really stands a lot with small business farmers and private property owners.
So I went to I see you said support local volunteers and first responder emergency services. So your rescue squad there, I went to the Florida Keys to look at a software package with Todd Entrican and the guy that's your current probate judge, Scott Hassel. They were both on the rescue squad. Yeah, well, neither one of them could get in the water because they were seasick. So I got to go diving by myself because you're bad. Your bad rear end rescue divers from Etowah County got seasick. Anyway, I always laugh about that.
I'll have to stand up for him, because we won second place in the Dragon Boat race for Habitat for Humanity. And Scott Hassel, Scott Hassel was one of our paddlers and did a great job. And Jamie Grant and our city clerk, Sam Johnson. We had a great boat full of paddlers and came in second place. So Scott Hassel's come a long way from the time he was with you then, because he's the pro at paddling now. But
well, good. So let's talk about. So you said you would stop land sales to foreign adversaries. I don't think I have any problem with that, other than it's going to be real hard. Just from a guy who deals in business all the time, it's going to be real hard to parse out what percentage of this company is owned by that this shell corporation. Yeah. We can't figure out who Jeffrey Epstein was laundering money for. I got a feeling it's going to be hard to parse out. Foreign investors in farmland. Okay, so let's see what else we got here. Stand against governmental overreach, oppose gambling related measures. That's pretty good. Brandon and I also believe that if we would just enforce the gaming laws, that this would be a better state. And let's see, stop sale of foreign land and support the Second Amendment. So luckily, you were in the presence of 2 Bama Carry members. And so we support all things Second Amendment. Support veterans, especially veterans' mental health benefits. So anyway, before the changing of the guard, we had a veteran down here in crisis. And he was Baker acted, for lack of a better word, if you understand what that, involuntarily committed against his will.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was while he had a lawsuit going on in federal court, and of course he saw it as an affront to his rights and his anyway, he missed his deadline to file something, and they threw that case out. So anyway, he went a little off the wall, and he started posting things on the internet. So the FBI field office down here, cowboys up, they don't tell Gulf Shores they're coming, and they go have a big firefight and kill the guy in the most densely populated apartment complex in Baldwin County. So, these are the same guys running around with their faces covered. We'll get to that in a little bit. Anyway, I do like your the faith-based addiction recovery groups. I've dropped 8 different women off at the Home of Grace for Women in 8 Mile, Alabama myself.
Yeah.
Support skilled labor training at schools and continue. I know that Gadsden State, while I was there, I got to know the president, and they already had a good what I'd call a trade school type program going on. And then this gender ideology stuff is almost as out of hand as you can't say you like to see, you don't like to see children in Gaza starving, and if you do, you're an anti-Semite. So I have my own little. I'm going to read this off of your website real quick. I believe my experience working and serving as the previous secretary and vice chair of the Etowah County Republican Party. So you must know Will Clay, right? The OG Republican.
Of course, yeah.
Of course.
Definitely.
So,
yes.
So, it says you were representative of Congressional Seat 7 and District 10 on the Alabama State Executive Republican Committee, 3 members of the Etowah County Library Board. So I too had to fool with the library board when I was there, and the Master Gardeners Club, of all damn things that's in your job description. The Alabama Public Library Service. So you were appointed by Governor Ivey, and have you are you still on the board now?
Most definitely. And if you Google my name, you will see a lot of recent things that I've stood up for as far as codifying into law.
And it says here that you've done prison chaplain ministry type work. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't listen. I'm
Celebrate Recovery name.
I've done a lot of Mother Teresa stuff in my life, but going into a prison and talking to people about Jesus is just like one of those things that's really tough for me. I don't like. Yeah. I have to go home, like burn my clothes after I've been in one of our prisons. It's so bad, and I hope that you'll see if you can't do something about that. I want to talk about my favorite TV show of all times. It's set in the South. It has 2 Southern actors, and it was written by Nick Pizzolatto. Are you familiar with his work? True Detective.
I am not.
While I was hunkered down behind this old decrepit boat, Captain America, Marty Hart, decides he's gonna run deep into the woods, flank around the back of the house where Ledoux's firing at us, right? Well, he sneaks up behind Ledoux, and just as Ledoux turns, bam, popped one off in him. Headshot, clean, dropped him. And his buddy, D-Wall, he made a run for it. Then his homemade cracker-ass security system took care of the rest. Oh, fuck. Get the cuffs off him before his blood settles. We gotta make this look right. God damn. Fuck. What do we do, Russ? Oh, fuck him. Good to see you commit to something. I'm gonna go see to the kids and don't bring them out until I say so. After we confirmed the 2 deaths and searched the rest of the premises, that's when we found the 2 children. I mean, we got very lucky. We just as easily could have been chewed to pieces by that AK on approach.
They're
What?
Chris Poole and Justin Hobbs, who, by the way, these guys never buy another beer in my presence. And come on down, Harry's going to take you guys kayak fishing. So you can't believe and heal from this shock. Shock collars used to sexually torture children in underground Alabama bunker.
Yeah, I did a couple of stories on this. This is bizarre that this went on. I'm glad that the authorities eventually arrested the people and exposed all this. I just wish it'd been a little bit quicker. I mean, my understanding, some of these people were actually like the parents of the kids. And I mean, my only explanation for this may be Satanism, because I don't know what motivates you to do this to your own kids.
Well, I don't know if you can see that stick leaning up against the wall back there, but the fact that these people made it back to the jail without being drugged behind the car or falling down a damn vacant mine shaft or something tells you that these are 2 good detectives.
Yeah, because I mean, they need these people alive so they can give evidence on all the people that were paying them for this. There have been 7 arrests thus far. What we were hearing on Monday is there could be an additional 12 arrests of the gentlemen that were paying for these services. Yeah, all these cats need to be locked up, and locked up for a really long time.
Well, you know, they don't fare too well inside if they ever make it. So up in Limestone County, we have the arrest of 3 women in a child sex abuse case. Did you see this? The McCarts, the Kyles, and the Campbells. Anyway, none of them look to have any teeth, so I don't know why I'm surprised.
Yeah, I bet some methamphetamine use has occurred over the years there.
So anyway, I'm going to walk y'all through just a couple things. So Danny Williams was a realtor and a personal trainer down at the beach. And in 2015, he was charged with distribution of steroids and cocaine and all the money laundering and mail fraud that goes along with that. And it turns out that the FBI used the case as a probe of Orange Beach officials. And so recently we've been hearing about Mayor Kennan, having some kind of incident at a public building. And, there's no body camera footage. Did you know that there was a lawsuit filed this week by a resident attorney down there in Orange Beach who have asked the state of Alabama to make him turn these records over? So
yes,
anyway,
I was aware of it.
So back to my little case involving the mayor's former best friend, Danny Williams. Oh yeah. So the chief of police that was involved in the case is retiring. That's number 1. Number 2, Battalion Commander Gant of the Orange Beach Fire Rescue, who was in charge that day, is retired or has retired. And Captain Kevin Lanford, also involved in the Danny Williams case, is retiring after 32 years. So Danny,
I'm suspecting there that they're anticipating a change in mayoral administration once this election is over with.
Ooh, I'm gonna do all I can to help see that through. So anyway, July has the highest number of drowning deaths. Here's some water safety tips. And of course, this all led to, so anyway, we were deposing the chief of police a couple months ago. And I started asking him about a previous case of his, and he decided he didn't want to answer it. So he and the city attorney just get up and leave. They cancel the deposition. I didn't know you could do that. And anyway, as we went outside, we did all this at Orange Beach City Hall for their convenience, right? So anyway, we go outside, and I got my little dog in the car. He's around here somewhere. And so I had to let him out, and he's running around, and two cop cars pull up on either side of us. And I said, hey, let's, I don't know if they're here for us, but let's get out of here. So we get an escort to the city limits, like we're living in Gadsden in 2003 or something. So we filed a statement of claim of harassment. So anyway, we go out to see if I'm doing a rudimentary drift test here, and we're looking at a picture of this big house that's kind of a landmark where all this happened in front of. And so I'm doing a drift test to see if I can account for the time she claims that she got blown from point A to point B. So I take a floating high density foam archery target with high vis stuff on it so nobody will hit it, and I throw it over and I watch it float for 20 minutes. I pick it up, I do it again, and I do it a third time. And so anyway, my client, who is the executor of his brother's estate, is on a sea-doo, for lack of a better word, a wave runner that he rented because he didn't want to take his big boat out there for all this. So anyhow, we're going back around to Boggy Point when guess who pulls up and harasses us again? Inexplicably, it was the Alabama law enforcement agency who still hasn't complied with the subpoena in this case. Imagine that. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about some national stuff that's really pretty good. So Trump files a libel lawsuit over Wall Street Journal's report that he sent Jeffrey Epstein the 50th birthday card that was hand drawn. And so anyway, I wonder who sent that, Brandon. Maybe Ghislaine Maxwell's brother is all over the news and sent that to the New York Times. It makes sense. And so, of course, that means that everybody...
If you're somebody like Donald Trump, especially when he was president before, I kind of imagine his staff probably sends out all kinds of birthday wishes and whatnot, especially to really rich people.
Right.
Now, to see why you want to be distancing yourself.
But anyway, immediately we send the number 2 guy, Justice, down to parlay with her so she'll quit sending or whatever's going on here. I don't know why we would pardon this woman for what we know that she's done and she's been convicted of.
She's asking for immunity. Congress wants her to testify, but she wants immunity. So if she sells more, that she doesn't get indicted for more stuff.
Right. So the House Oversight Committee will subpoena the Justice Department to release files tied to the case of Jeffrey Epstein. That was July 24th. And then, of course, it says, so I don't know if you guys have read this. There's a Dan Bongino op-ed of sorts on the Gateway Pundit, and it says, it shocked me down to the core. Bongino reveals that he is running roughshod over this deep state investigation. And I said, they're the same supposed continuous investigations in Baldwin County and Orange Beach. Yeah.
Wow.
So I got a feeling we're going to find, I have no doubt when they open the Jeffrey Epstein folder that there's nothing in it. Right? The question is, where did it go and who burned it?
Got a hold of that file a long time ago.
So anyway, do y'all know Rep. Dale Strong?
Yeah.
He calls on Trump administration to release Epstein, MLK, and JFK files. So anyway, yeah. Maxwell lawyers tell Congress she'll only testify after appeal is over or if Trump pardons her. And then here's the kicker. Trump administration releases troves of files on MLK assassination to give all of us people like me something to go, blind reading instead of paying attention to the Genius Act and crypto and all this other stuff that slipped in. So, Brandon, have you seen the latest addition to Trump's fleet, Gulf Force One? It's a damn armored, it looks like one of those razors.
Yeah,
it looks like the Batmobile.
It's side by side, become real popular. But now he's got his is tricked out. It's really cool.
Do you think it has like James Bond shit on it? Like it'll drop like explosives out the back and smoke, and it'll grease.
Yeah,
them.
it probably has like a stinger that will, shoot down airplanes if it needs to, and tow
Right.
missiles fire out the front or something.
Probably
Yes.
way cooler than the Green Hornets. Okay, so do y'all remember last week we were all looking for Cesar Campos Reyes, who
And we
runs
did
this
capture
big.
Mr. Reyes.
Right, we
Yeah.
captured him, and then tears were shed and hugs were shared Wednesday after a judge denied the U.S. government's request to keep Cesar Campos Reyes behind bars. Because why? Because he's innocent until proven guilty. Sorry. Oh, so listen. So you know how you say, I keep asking Brandon, I'm like, I really want to do a podcast with this guy because I want him to explain to me how cryptocurrency isn't a securities fraud. Because I know our state auditor is big time into crypto. So it turns out he's so smart. Georgia man accused of running a $140 million Ponzi scheme contributed to 3 Alabama officials. So Brandon, you the reporter. Who were the other 2?
Ben Harrison was one of them, state representative. I am drawing a blank on the third.
Well, dang gummit.
Sorry.
I would have looked it up. So do y'all know the story of the Scottish Robin Hood? So anyway, apparently there's a gentleman named John Joseph J. Kloss III, who is now 67. He was hiding down in Northport, Florida, when he was arrested by the U.S. Marshal Service. He had been sought in connection with a 2008 first-degree sodomy of a child under the age of 12 and 1 count of second-degree sodomy of a child. Anyway, he said, they will never catch me. I'm the descendant of the Scottish Robin Hood. And he was right for 17 years. And then they came up with flock cameras and facial recognition. Yep, we got him. So, Brandon, you're going to have to explain this to me because I'm just so done with college sports and NIL. It makes me want to vomit. They've destroyed my love for Auburn football, which is about all I had left in this world. And so Nick Saban praises Trump's executive order aimed at saving college sports. So why don't you explain to us how anybody is going to unscrew this?
This is a pretty messed up deal. The House settlement, allowed the universities to pay players for the first time officially direct from their athletics department, and it set a salary cap of $21 million. This is not just for the football team, but this is across athletics. But then another court came in and ruled that the House settlement does nothing to limit the power of individual collectives, which had been paying the players. They're not shut down and they're not limited, so you can still now have on the victory fund, or whatever the Tide one is, and this is in addition to the $21 million that the university pays. And Brandon and Harry are perfectly legal if we want to blow our money paying offensive linemen, which is probably something Auburn really needs to work on.
Yeah.
It's chaos. The president signed an executive order, but with a House agreement, settlement, and then this latest court ruling, I think everything we thought we'd accomplish this summer just got blown up.
Yep, that's what I thought. I saved my time not worrying about it. So State Library Board moves to align state's code with Trump executive order on gender identity. So does this mean we just have to move the dirty library books about gender stuff into the restricted section? Is that at the end of the day what the final? Go ahead.
We've just opened back the code up, so we're going to have a 45-day public hearing, and when we finish that 45 days, we just got it back from the Attorney General's office. We will know exactly what we will do once those 45 days of the public hearing are over. We just had one for sexually explicit books. The reason we did not include gender ideology and sexual orientation in that public hearing and that opening of the code was because at the time we didn't have state laws or President Trump's executive order. Now we have true definitions for the state of Alabama of what a male and a female are that we did not have last year when we opened up the code originally. We also have the executive orders that says no federal funding can be used to promote gender ideology or sexual orientation, and that's President Trump executive order. So since the library board receives around $3 million federal funding, that's another thing we have to back this up. Another law that has just recently been passed is VCAP. That was on hold. And the Alabama led the way with that. And so now, of course, you cannot have physicians practicing child mutilation basically with children. And so we want to align the state library board code to reflect that. We don't want books at tax dollar expense going against something that is currently the state law.
So we had been talking about taking those weird books, trying to convince kids to change their gender out of the children's section and moving them into the weird adult section. Are we just all the way now to the point of removing this, gender ideology nonsense just out of the library altogether?
Well, my position is, of course, the sexually explicit that's an easy one. Move it to the adult section, put the parents in charge. And that way, because parents right now with the library, they can sign for their child to have all access. If they want their child to be able to go into the adult section, they can give them an all access card. So we're not preventing parents from doing whatever they want to. And, there are several million books published every year. And no library has all the books. So we're not trying to ban or burn books. We're just saying move sexually explicit books to the adult section, put the parents in charge. Now, my position on the gender ideology, since we have laws now that say, Alabama laws, to me, there should be no books. We should completely eliminate those if they are against the state laws or the federal law. So my position on those books would be to completely weed them out. But library directors do that every day. This is not something new, but I just don't think at tax dollar expense, we should have books that are going against or encouraging children to go against our state laws.
That's going to be an exhaustive list if y'all start making a list. That's all I got to say. It's a slippery slope.
Yes. And so, like I said, no banning or burning books as far as sexually explicit. We actually gave them we gave them a list of definitions. I mean, it shouldn't be that hard, but in code now, there are what sexually explicit is. We already have those words. If it talks about oral sex, anal sex, masturbation, I mean, we literally printed out word for word. So if the book addresses that, you have to move it to the adult section in order to receive state funding. If a library wants to keep them, they can, but they just will not get the state funding. And again, that was after 6 hours of public hearing. Over 6,750 letters were written in during this public hearing time. And trust me, I read every one of them. Me and Chairman John Wall, we read every one of them. And so we did go with what the majority wanted. Governor Ivey was the one that wrote the policies, but most of the letters stated and the public hearing stated that they wanted something, that her policies didn't go far enough. And so that's when we added the amendments in. And I would say too, this is not the same thing as banning a book, because anybody can go down, they can order it on Amazon, they can go down and buy these books, and like I said, no library has all the million books that are published every year anyway. So they are already doing selective choices by not putting every book in the library. So we're just saying the ones that are against the law currently in Alabama. So in other words, if it encourages, like there's one book called Hearts and Parts that's in the children's section at Fairhope Public Library right now. There was just an article published about this particular situation. But a second grader goes in and looks at that book, and it literally tells them if they are not comfortable with who they were when they were born, they can take medicine, have the surgery, and then you will be happy. That's what the book says. So for books like that, we're saying that is against Alabama law. So we do not think those books should be in the library.
I think people should take a switch to their children and pay attention to what they do. Anyway,
Exactly, which is why we're saying, put the parents in charge and let them, they get to decide if they want their child to have full access with the full access library card, or if they just want them to only have the children's section. So again, we are trying to put the parents in charge. That's exactly what we're trying to do.
all right. So look, have you ever been down here to Hangout Fest where all the
I
druggies?
have.
Yep.
I
So
have.
did all the stinky
I've never
people
been
with,
to Hangout Festival anywhere.
yeah, stinky people with, dreadlocks and, so anyway, I have a bunch of clients whose private property was destroyed, like in the, yeah, I think it was, I don't know. It was the first year we did the podcast. So that'd been 2018 or so. And maybe the second or third podcast, one of the property owners came on and was whooping hell out of the city council down there about their decision. So anyway, they had a big public hearing, and guess what, Brandon?
They decided to extend public Hangout Fest or whatever
Yeah,
the thing is.
of course they did. We're not doing anything about all this and all the mayhem it causes. So anyway, let's get on to some more positive stuff. So Honduran national was detained by ICE after a Summerdale soccer game stabbing.
Well, if you stab somebody, generally the police are going to hold you.
And he had cocaine in his
people don't
pocket.
get arrested.
He had cocaine. He probably could have got away if he wasn't so high on coke. So 2 Alabama prison employees arrested on drug charges in 2 days. That looks like a lot of ice, man. A whole lot of ice.
Yeah, I mean, we keep covering, stories of people dying of drug overdoses in prison. I mean, you would think the one place you would not have access to drugs is in prison. Yeah, I mean, anybody who is smuggling weapons or drugs into the prisons, yeah, they need to get locked up.
Yep. Well, they got him, Dano. They got him this time. So police link ghost guns. So you know what a ghost gun is. You can buy the metal components and you can print the rest of the gun around it, essentially. And so anyway, police link ghost guns to specific 3D printers using fingerprints from the printer's tool marks left behind during printing can make ghost guns traceable. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. Everything the ATF has been trying to do for the last 90 years just went out the window with printable guns.
To me, the ATF is here so that Brendan and Harry don't have 50 caliber machine guns. If we keep trying to expand their mandate to other things, we're worried about the length of the barrel of a rifle or shotgun, or how many rounds are in a magazine, or any of this nonsense.
Or if I have a piece of plastic that will make my gun go boom more than once with a trigger pull, that I might keep around for, like when it's Mad Max times, I'm going to have to sit down and print my Glock switch then to, God forbid I do it now.
I'm not a machinist, and I do not have the skill to make my own guns, and I'd be scared to fire my own gun if I did make one. But I don't see where this is an area where the federal government needs to be involved at all. It's like, okay, somebody makes guns out of a 3D printer. Good job. Whatever.
Hey, fair enough. So,
to me, the Second Amendment applies whether, he has a serial number on there or not. He's still with our constitutional right to bear it. So
maybe we could do a new day version of the Billy Budd story where the guy gets his hand blown off by the 3D printed gun, as opposed to it being, silversmith into a wad. Let's see here. Speaking of literary illusion, gunman in New York City office shooting left a note and many questions. Here's what we know about the investigation. So some guy from Las Vegas gets in his car, drives across the country to Manhattan, and shoots a bunch of people in the Bank of America. Does that about sum it up?
Yeah, that about sums it up. I don't really understand why you need to be shooting people you don't know, but bad guys are going to be bad guys.
All right. Well, that was a bunch of hoopla going on. So, talk about something that's none of your business. Andy Bryan caught canoodling with his head of HR, Kristen Cabot, at Coldplay concert, has resigned from AI company Astronomer, and he is suing Coldplay. Did y'all know that?
Yeah.
Talk about
Yeah,
creative lawyers.
I mean, I am no fan of Coldplay, but I mean, you went to their concert and you were part of their event. If their camera caught you at their event, that's well within their legal rights because, again, you paid to be at the Coldplay event.
Yeah, I say this is fair play, public. You're in a public place, and you know.
Yeah, I mean, we can't show crowd pictures anymore at a football game. If this guy wins this out, because you might be seen with somebody you're not supposed to be seen with.
Well, my hat is off. Oh, I want to just we'll just listen to this real quick. Let's see the montage. Let's see if you guys recognize the voices real quick. Let's see here. Wow. Talk about a montage I wouldn't want to be in. Did you guys hear that?
I did not.
Oh.
I did not either.
Oh, y'all couldn't hear it? Oh, well.
We didn't hear diddly.
I'm going to have to get back into it. So anyway, it's a montage of a bunch of people telling us it's the unvaccinated people that are getting us all killed.
Yeah, I think I was there when she said that.
Yeah, I know. And we've kind of all forgotten that. I thought that was pretty funny that she was caught between Don Lemon and the girl that Joe Scarborough's married to on MSNBC. What's her daddy was an ambassador or something.
Yeah,
Mika
Brzezinski or something like that.
Yeah. She's deep state of shit, ain't she? So anyway, let's talk about good people who have passed. Gulf Shores mourns the loss of local icon Bill McInnes, known as Papa Rocco. Did y'all ever go in Papa Rocco's, get a pizza and a warm flat beer to go with it, and put you $1 up on the wall? Anyway.
Yeah, I'm generally a Domino's guy.
So he passed, and Pirates Cove matriarch Eileen Mueller leaves behind a lasting legacy. You ever been to Pirates Cove, Ms. Menton?
No, I have not.
Well, that's good because the Steele family has a compound down there, and you don't want anybody to think you're down there. But anyway, it's funny. Ms. Mueller's son, who also obviously is from Josephine, was my. So I'm at Auburn. I have to take a PE. So guess which PE I decided to take, Brandon? Scuba diving. Oh. And so Paul Mueller Jr. was my scuba diving partner at Auburn. So I know Mrs. Mueller real well, and her husband that passed probably 20 years ago now. But anyway, a lot of good people passing down there at the beach. So there is a free app that's out, and it's pretty dang good, Brandon. It's from Dolphin Island Sea Lab, and it's specifically for Mobile Bay. And it gives you water temperature, salinity, all kinds of good stuff, and relative humidity, all the things you'd expect if you were going to go out and boat. And, of course, tidal patterns. We have diennial tides here. And last week here in Fairhope, we had a Jubilee. Did y'all know that on Thursday?
Yep.
My jackass friends from Fairhope called me after it was over with. So, Brandon, have you seen this? Ben Garrison, Citizen Cattle, forced vaccinations, GMO. So did you see where Kennedy is going to have Ozempic and other fat shots paid for by Medicaid?
I'm skeptical of that. I kind of think we need to be figuring out how to spend less on Medicaid. Now we're worried about people's fatness or whatever, and Medicaid pay for that. Not a tremendous fan. I'm
Well, you know,
skeptical of any drug that actually causes you lose weight or have depressed appetite, because something's going on there for that mechanism.
so Ms. Menton, I don't know how your life is, but I have so many people that depend on me in my practice that I can't take a risk with my health by taking the fat shot. That seems I mean, that would be like me fooling around with heroin, as far as I'm
Yes.
concerned. I don't know anything any more
I
about it
agree.
than I do heroin. So,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
remember Fen back in the day. Fen worked, but it killed like 2% of the users or something.
right, it damaged your heart valves. And like they
Yeah.
didn't know that. And they did the actuaries and said, shit, it might cost us $3 billion down the road, but we're going to make 50. Brandon, do the math, man. We got all these lawyers. Come on. So federal officials arrest 11 construction workers on Wednesday at the site of the new Loxley Elementary School in Baldwin County.
Weren't they just taught at the high school?
That was the Gulf Shores High School.
I mean, come on, guys.
Different school system. It's not like it's the same school system. It's just the same county. And of course, all of these guys, yeah, we're going to have to do this. I'm sorry. I thought I might not, but I think it's important because a lot of people have been giving this woman what for, and I just find myself, I'm not saying rooting for the girl, but I understand where she's coming from. So let's just watch this and see what she says.
Don't fucking push me. You're taking him before I can take a phone number from him?
You need to stop.
You need to stop kidnapping people off the fucking street.
100%.
You just...
So Brandon, I don't know if y'all can hear the audio or not, but this is a federal agent, or he's on federal business. He has his face covered up. He doesn't, it has a Homeland Security insignia on his flak jacket. And, all these guys have their faces covered and sunglasses on and a hat on, so we don't get to know who they are. And I agree with her. I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that the good guys don't wear masks. And so when did we turn this corner mentally where this is okay? I don't care what they're doing. Okay. If they're rescuing kittens from trees, the idea that somebody's going to cover their face and take their name tag off.
Wearing the mask. I don't ever get this argument.
Well, what do you not understand about it?
Well, I mean, if they want to wear a mask while they're doing their duty, more power to them. The main deal is they do their job, which is removing the illegal criminal, the criminal aliens from the country. I mean, if they think their job, if they're safer in a mask or more comfortable in a mask, or the mask makes them feel tougher or whatever, I have zero problem with it. I don't see anything in the Constitution that says the law enforcement or the military can't wear masks if they so feel.
Come time. Keep us happy. And good man must wear mask.
Makes no sense to me, this argument.
It makes no sense to me why everybody else who works for the government has their name tag on and what branch they work for, and they identify themselves because they're executing a legal warrant, right? So I don't know what's going on, but I certainly don't think any of this is normal, nor did this Karen in the parking lot of wherever it was, Home Depot. I don't know that she was actually kidnapping anyone. So, Brandon, tell us what's going on this week in your life.
I'm trying to catch up on these mayor races. There's actually like 9 candidates running for mayor of Birmingham. Me and AI, of course, I couldn't possibly do this without the AI. wrote articles on all 9 of the Birmingham mayoral candidates. Now, I kind of think it's between Wadlin Gavan and Randall Woodfin, with maybe LaShonda Scales as a dark horse. But mayor elections is getting to be a big thing in August. I think got a big mayor's election down in Orange Beach where they want to keep Tony Kennon around for another 4 years or not. And then Mobile gets a new mayor because Sandy Simpson is not running for re-election. There's mayor elections all over the place.
So guess who I ran into today on Dolphin Street? Former mayoral candidate Steve Nodine. We had a brief exchange. I gave him a high five, and he was busy on his way. And I don't know who he's supporting. Do you? Is he in Brian's
I have
camp?
no idea. I know he got in this race, and that campaign was going nowhere, so he got out.
Right. Okay, keep going, man.
Well, we're still the big deal that's coming up. I don't know if we'll have the reports yet. Probably it'll be first of next week. That will be coming up to end of the month campaign finance time. I mean, Amy Menton knows how that is. Everybody wants that's really interested in politics wants to see who is raising money and who is not raising money in all these state races. This is when you report, and at the end of the month, there's a lot can be learned from those reports as to who the money's flowing to, who can't raise money. I hate to simplify American democracy down to, the money wins, but in a lot of these cases, the only way you're going to reach the voters is by sending a mail out to their house and beating them to death on local TV news, and all that costs a lot of money. So who has the money versus who doesn't have the money will decide a lot of these races.
Brandon, have you ever seen that movie from the 1980s with Richard Dawson in it? And I think
the Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. So anyway,
I think they're doing some kind of crappy remake of that now.
Yeah. So let's just watch just a little bit of it.
Filming me!
Ben Richards, 35, married, 1 child, in medical crisis.
We need money for a doctor now.
Ben, watch yourself.
Employment status, blacklisted. But there's still a way out for you. It's the biggest show in the country.
Bloodlust is our birthright! Set it free! Welcome to the Running Man!
People on these games never come back.
I'm not trying to get myself killed, so kiss my ass twice.
Right there is why you can win this game. The rules are simple. Survive 30 days with the entire nation hunting you down.
So did you catch that? The entire nation is trying to hunt you down in the new Running Man.
Yeah, I kind of think the as ridiculous as the original premise was, where it was on a closed course, actually makes more sense. Yeah, I really don't want to be hit by a stray round from people shooting at somebody trying to collect an award and get on reality TV.
So last week,
half these cats can't shoot. That's the problem.
Okay, but I have a novel idea. So last week, a DHR employee left a 3-year-old in the car to die.
Yeah, I did a couple of stories on that one too.
So maybe we just release a picture of this guy and give him 30 days if he survives living in Alabama. If he survives out on the street for 30 days, or whoever it is. So let's get this straight. So this person's only job as a contractor was to transport children from point A to point B. The child in question was picked up at daycare and was supposed to be taken to a facility where the father was paying for supervised visit. The
Yes.
child never
She
showed
was
up
to
there.
take the child to the father for a supervised visit, which she did. But then her mission was simply to transport said child from the supervised visit back to the daycare center so the poor child could go back to his foster care parents. And somehow this was too complicated for her, and she had to go get this to the cigar lounge to buy God only knows what. And so she went in her house to get stoned and left this child to broil to death in the back of a car with the windows up and the car, little 3-year-old strapped up in a car seat. The worst possible way to die I could even think of.
Maybe that thing that the Greeks put you in that looked like a bull and they built a fire under it. That might have been worse. But I really can't think of anything
somebody probably at the
recently.
worst way. Yeah, but slowly cooking to death, hoping somebody will come and let you out of the car, and it never happens. That's a pretty bad way to go.
So if you're Governor Ivey, how many levels of people get fired? How many?
I would have
Everybody?
fired Butner on the first day once I found out this happened, and I would completely clean house at the Bessemer office. I mean, I don't know why, we're having an issue. The woman has been fired. She works for Covenant Services, which is a contractor. DHR, instead of doing this kind of thing themselves, they take kids away from families and then, do this kabuki stuff with the supervised visits and whatnot. Instead of actually having a state employee do it, the actual work gets pawned off on these contractors. This is a contractor based out of Anniston. And apparently they hire like the cheapest workers known to man, that this woman somehow was on the job. And somehow when this child didn't come back 5 hours later, it didn't get reported quick enough for them to go rescue this kid. I mean, this whole thing, it just reeks of massive incompetence. I don't want to sit here and just throw stones at DHR completely, but I don't see how this doesn't merit a investigation of just how they do things from top to bottom over there.
Right. And if this person did do harm, if the parents did do harm to this contractor and Brandon Mosley was on the jury.
Yeah, I don't even want to go there, but I mean, if I'm this dad and my kid just got boiled to death because DHR took my kid out of my home and then, can't just take the kid across town back to where he's supposed to go. This person hasn't been charged with anything as far as I know. I mean, it takes great restraint on the part of the father not to just go over to her house and just beat her head in, which I'm glad he's not doing, but, I could understand it if he did.
Well, my first impulse was just how many people lost their pensions like that. Everybody involved in that contract administration, everybody who was supposed to be looking over the shoulder and making sure these children are safe. Anyway, it's just something that really made me really, really mad, man.
I mean, if you check a car out of a state motor pool, for a trip and you don't return it, somebody is checking over you and it's like, hey, what happened to the car? I kind of think if we hand you a kid for you to transport and the kid never returns, alarm bells need to be set off by somebody somewhere.
Well, Amy, you picked a heck of a podcast to come on. Is there anything that you want to tell us about your campaign stops, or are you going to? I'm assuming that you see Brandon all the time at the. Etowah County has a pretty active Republican Party, and so I would imagine that you're there. But are you going to be around your district anywhere that people can see you between now and the election?
Oh, definitely. I was just at the Cherokee County Republican breakfast. We had Chief Justice Bill Lewis, and that was wonderful. And my father works with Celebrate Recovery and is a chaplain in the prison ministry in the Montgomery area. So he worked every day with the Alabama Supreme Court Justice Bill Lewis. So it was nice to have him in our county, and I could go meet with him there. I'm always at the Etowah County breakfast and the meetings there, and every day we've got activities. Thursday this week is going to be the Taste of Etowah County, and so it's going to be at the venue. It's open to the public. It's going to be a great time to come taste all the wonderful food in the area, and so I will be there.
So I have an admission. So I went to. So there used to be a really good restaurant in the Cultural Arts Center. Is it Forest Avenue or Main Street there in Gadsden? Did it move, or is it just there's not a restaurant there anymore? I know that's an obscure question, but it was my favorite place to eat when I was there, and I was really bummed that it was gone.
Well, I will say that there are some wonderful restaurants that have opened up in downtown Gadsden now. I would encourage you to come back, and I'll treat you to some of the new restaurants.
I ate at a wing joint while I was there.
Yes.
Across from that standing bar that let me think, Judge Milliken's niece opened right across the street from. Anyway, it's been a long time since I've been to Gadsden, and a lot of things. It was like Back to the Future. Seriously, it was like 20 years had passed, and nothing was where it was supposed to be. It's crazy.
Well, good things are definitely happening in Etowah County and Cherokee County and DeKalb County. I would encourage you to come visit. Seriously, it's growing faster than it has in my lifetime here. So I think good things are happening.
All right, guys. Well,
for
Brandon,
people who don't know, District 10 is that you mentioned Larry Means. This is the old Larry Means district. Bill Williams had it for 8 years. For the past 8 years, Andrew Jones has been the state senator. Amy is challenging Senator Jones, and I think there's a third candidate, I think Jesse Battles, who is also running in the Republican primary for the state Senate district. Am I right on that one?
Yes. Can I say a few things now about that?
absolutely.
Sure.
Okay, so one of the reasons I am running, you were talking about early in the podcast about the session. If you'll remember the last week of the session this past year in the Senate, there were it was held up a few days, and partly because our current Senator Andrew Jones was trying to regulate a private property, somebody's 4,000 acres. It's actually Indian Mountain ATV Park, trying to regulate somebody's private property. I'm completely against regulating somebody's private property, especially at a state level when that should be handled locally. And so that's one of the reasons I chose to run.
Good.
Yeah, he was filibustering bills before the
For 2
Democrats
days.
was
2
because
days.
the House wouldn't move his ATV park bill for Cherokee County. And the House wasn't interested in passing that bill anyway. I mean, it was mind-boggling. I don't
Yes,
understand
and
the logic there.
I actually called him and I asked him to please stop that, because our local legislators, Mac Butler, Mark Gidley, and Craig Lipscomb, had bills that needed to get on the Senate floor, and he was holding it up so they could not get on the Senate floor. They had already been through the House, they had already passed. They just needed that last part of the Senate. I ended up calling Donnie Chasteen, who was the chair of the Education Committee. Donnie and I were pharmaceutical reps together. I retired from pharmaceutical sales with Donnie Chasteen, who is the senator in South Alabama. I called
Yeah, down
him
in
and I said,
Dothan.
hey, Dothan, yes. And I called him and I said, can you please get some of our legislators' bills through the education committee? He was like, we're already past that. We're already on 600 level bills. Why has no one talked to me about this? So I just feel like there is a gap that we need somebody, a senator who will work with our representatives and get their bills passed. And that's one of the reasons I want to run.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's your job, is to pass legislation that your people in your district support. And I can't imagine why somebody would do what, you're, like I said, it sounds like it's a good time to strike, doesn't it, Brandon?
It'll be an interesting race.
Well, I
Well-
definitely, like I said, I feel very strongly, and that's one of the reasons I definitely decided to run. I think somebody's private property should be their private property, and I do not think it should be regulated by the government, and I feel very strongly about that.
Well, good.
I also,
Once you get elected, I'm going to suggest that you do an open fields doctrine law for the state of Alabama, because there's several lawsuits going on in North Alabama where game wardens are trespassing on people's private property. And of course, game wardens can go wherever they want, which is why the sheriff's department gets them to go with them when they're just kind of think they might be something going on out here. Anyway, that's just something for you to keep in the back of your mind for future legislation that might be rock star for you.
yeah, definitely. And the other thing along with that is my husband was a Marine, so I'm a huge supporter of veterans mental health. My husband's grandfather, he was the one who originally got me to really thinking about this. He was on the USS West Virginia when it was bombed in Pearl Harbor. And then he was moved to the USS Enterprise, and he was only 21 years old. And he ended up in the Doolittle raids, Battle of Midway, Battle of Solomon Islands. And I talked to him, and he was like, Amy, please do your part in helping people remember the price of freedom, and that freedom is not free. It does take individual lives and individuals given so much of themselves and their families. And, the battle is not over on the battlefield. It comes home with our military men and women, and they live with it the rest of their lives. And so I want to do everything I can to support our veterans and veterans' mental health. And like I said, my brother-in-law was in Delta Force. He came home from Vietnam, same situation. My husband was in the Marine Corps. And when my husband was gone, I actually got broken into downtown Southside Birmingham, not Southside Alabama, near me, not in Etowah County, but Southside Birmingham. So I had to get my shotgun out and defend myself. And so that reaffirmed my belief in Second Amendment rights. So many of the things I'm standing for and talking about, I have lived, I have done. I've stood up against gender ideology. This is not just something, that I say I'm going to stand up against. My daughter was in medical school at UAB, and she was given a chart of 73 genders. And, so I stood up against that. I've had many experiences to stand on these things. And so I feel like that I would continue to do the same thing if I were elected as the state senator. One of the things I would say against my friend Jesse Battles that is running, he is a nice young man and has a beautiful wife, just like Senator Jones and his wife are nice people. And this is nothing personal, but I definitely disagree with much of their legislation. And Jesse ran the Democrat minority leader's campaign 6 years ago. And then now he's running as a Republican. So, I'm like, that right there is, who are you really, Jesse? Like, decide what you believe. He's very young. He's never been on the city council, on a school board, never been a county commissioner. Never been on any state boards. And it's easy to say you're going to do something, but what have you done? And how do you know you can stand in the state Senate? That's a big jump from never having been on a school board or city council or in any political office. And so that is my position. I just feel like I have been there. I have done it. And so that's why I want this opportunity to serve as the state senator.
Sounds good to me. So Brandon, what's going on this week with you? We got any upcoming Republican activities?
Well, we were going to have the Republican summer dinner with the RNC chairman, Mr. Whiteley, But he bailed on us, so they postponed indefinitely the the dinner deal that I was going to Friday night. I think the summer meeting of the executive committee is still on. It'll be interesting to
Yes,
see
it is. Yes.
what
Yes,
business
I'll be
they
there for
take up.
that. Yes.
And where are we going? Birmingham?
Montgomery.
Oh, Montgomery. Where?
Montgomery, Renaissance. Yeah.
Renaissance.
Yeah, the
All right, I guess I
convention
gotta eat $150 for a ticket, huh?
Well, the good news is the reason the speaker had to withdraw is because they called him in to run for Senate in North Carolina. So I'm excited about that for him. I hope he does end up running for the Senate in North Carolina, and so I'll excuse him from the dinner on this case.
Well, Ms. Benton, we certainly appreciate your time. And I tell you what, you get out there and you talk to people honestly, like you have us today, and you get your message out there, and I bet you win this race.
Well,
I
thank
bet
you. One last thing. When you brought up the gambling thing, I wanted to make sure and clarify that. I stand for separating the lottery and the gambling bill. I really do. I'm not saying I'm completely against the lottery. I think, that depending on the bill, I'm against casino brick and mortar buildings. I would vote against that. But the lottery itself, there could be a place for that. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Understood. Okay, well, I may see both of y'all Saturday night. Who knows?
Sounds great.
Okay, thank you for your time. Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you, Harry. Have a good week.
Thank you.